This episode is sponsored by Property Filter. Find great deals faster.
Hello and welcome to the Financial Freedom Podcast, sponsored by us at Property Portfolio Building. This podcast is designed by real people on their journey to achieving financial freedom, and we'll focus on people who've either already attained it, who are joining us on that journey, or maybe a specialist topic that can help you build your technical knowledge to achieving and maintaining that financial freedom. We hope you enjoy it. Welcome, and today's episode is one of our case study episodes, and this is somebody who is on their journey to financial freedom, so they can take you through the steps that they've taken so far and what the end goal is, and hopefully there'll be something there for you to take away from it. Now, I'm also it's a delight to have this person. He's been a friend of ours since 2020.
2020, yeah.
And he's also a client and now joint venture partner. So it's a very, very warm welcome to Stephane.
Thank you very much.
Welcome. Good to see you.
Good to see you, mate. Also the most smiley person in property, I reckon.
He's got excellent smile. Everyone says that.
Yeah.
Everyone that knows you, Stephane, that's what.
Yeah, I think one of our other friends described you as he's got resting smile face.
Yeah. Good way to describe it.
Yeah. So, Stephane, as we do with all our guests, we want to lead off with a bit of an icebreaker and an interesting fact or question. Okay. And the thing I want to ask you about is you've just completed your 4th half marathon.
Last Sunday.
Congratulations.
Well done. But why the hell would you want to run that far? I mean, I only ever run if I'm being chased or I'm chasing a ball, so I can't contemplate it at all why anybody would want to do this type of stuff. But you've done 4 of these.
And a lot of training to get to that point, isn't it?
Yes. Tell me more about that.
And why will I run? I like it. I think most people might be surprised with that. I'm not a social person. I like doing things on my own. So
okay.
When I go for a run, I don't run in groups. I like running on my own. And that time with myself, this is why I enjoy. I really enjoy that. So first, it's getting me fit. And second, I get to think about me and my family, my plan, my future. So I love that. And I think I keep doing that.
I understand it's not just running though. You've actually raised money.
Correct. So I've done it in the past. This year, I raised money for the charity set up by my wife, Paul.
Excellent.
She set up a charity to help people with handicap in Cameroon, people who are deaf. And I'm supporting my wife. 2 years ago, I run
people who are deaf. Sorry.
Yes,
yeah,
who are deaf. Sorry, not deaf.
Yeah. It's ironic me asking that, isn't it? Yeah.
And 2 years ago, I also ran for a charity set up by a property entrepreneur, and it was also, I think that's the highest I've raised so far. So it's part of all of that. So giving back, health, and conversation with myself.
Great work.
Lovely. Right then. So I'm going to crack on with the proper questions, if that's good. Okay. So question 1, Tell me your story.
Okay. So I'm from Cameroon. Cameroon, Central Africa. I was born and raised in Cameroon. I grew up there. And so one interesting fact about Cameroon, most people don't know. So some people might. Cameroon is like in Canada. There's a French part, there's an English part. So I was born in the French part of Cameroon. And in terms of proportion, Cameroon, so the French part is a bit like 80% of the country and the English part 20%. So born in the French part, raised there. But after my A-level, I moved to the English part of Cameroon to do my first degree at university. I studied computer science and mathematics. Finished there. This is where I got exposed to the English way of speaking, Anglo-Saxon. And I love it. And I thought about moving to either the US or England to further my studies. So obviously I didn't have money, so supported by my parents. So I was raised up by a stable family, loving environment, nurturing environment. Dad and mom have always been working. Mom was a civil servant. Dad was assistant head teacher.
Right.
School was quite
teaching,
important.
Yeah.
Yes,
very good.
in our family. And always working, always doing charitable activities. So that's the type of environment where I was raised. And therefore, school was important for me too. So finished there, and I thought I want to master in IT. And I did a couple of applications. The first application was rejected. It was in Scotland. And the second application was accepted in London. So I got the one in London, moved to London 2009. And there, it was 1 year master in information technology. So I came here, and study was my number one priority, because that's why I came to the UK. I was an expat here just to study. And I did well. I finished with distinction.
Right.
And that helped me to secure my first internship straight away after my study. So some people did not manage to do that. I think my result helped me to achieve that. So finished that, and then straight away got my first my internship. And unfortunately, that was the period when Dad passed away.
Right.
So it was basically, it was that period. So he did not. The last time I saw Dad was when he left me to the airport.
Right.
So that's something that if I can change, I will have changed that. But it is what it is. And then I realized now I just have to work. I got the opportunity to work, and then 1 year internship, I learned a lot. I am in the field of IT. Mm-hmm. I'm an information technology consultant. So I started as just a tester. After the internship, I applied for a graduate position with a big multinational company here in the UK. And at the time, because I was on visa, you need to be sponsored by a big company to stay in the UK. So they sponsor me, they hire me, and then again, my purpose was learn as much as you can, especially if you want to stay in the UK, make more money, and then grow in the corporate ladder. And again, that was my purpose. I think I'm quite driven in terms of what I want to achieve. So I wanted to do well at work. And I think I did my best. Probably my ex-boss can judge that, but from my side, I think I did my best. So I grew up there, and I love that period. Why? Because I was single. I was a bachelor. And you started working with this big company, 19 offices in the UK.
Oh, wow.
Big.
And they knew that we are single. So therefore, every other month, I was in one town or city in the UK, saying everything, all expenses, hotel, and then food. I love that. I used to.
Yeah, that's cool.
So I think it's good for youngster after uni to experience that. So I was in Brighton, Manchester, Edinburgh, Oxford. I was always on the move, only coming back to London for the weekend. So I enjoyed that period. And I did that for quite a while, probably 6 years. And this is where the excitement started fading, because first frustration I had was I realized I did not, from my perspective, probably from the corporate perspective, it was different. I realized I don't always have the promotion that I want.
Okay.
That was my first frustration. And I wonder whether it was attached to my visa, but maybe that's me thinking too much. But I thought it would be good for me to have a level of control of that, because the control is completely given away. So the purpose next was not to be dependent on the visa. So what do I need to be so that I become a British citizen? Study that, and then I just follow the step. So stay with that company for 5 years, and then after that you become a British citizen. No, after that you become a permanent resident.
Permanent residency, yeah.
And then British citizen. So I followed that step, and as soon as I reached 5 years, I just applied for the independent leave to remain, and then from there British citizenship, and I left the company because that was the target there. One part that I probably skipped was, remember at the time I was based in London, and then I got married.
Okay.
Things changed now.
So maybe not.
When was this? Sorry, what year was this?
So we got married in 2013, and Paul and I have not each other since secondary school.
Right.
We've always been.
Right.
So, and she was in Cameroon. I was here. Whenever I could save, I was always in Cameroon. And when we started, when we were engaged, she was coming here. And yeah, it was great. And then we had 2013, got married in 2015. We had our first boy, Josier. And then this is where she made a big decision to leave a high-paid job in Cameroon to join me. I love that, but I wanted that decision to be her. And then she joined me in 2015. But I remember in the past, that company it's all about moving people.
Yeah, of course.
We are consultant. So she arrived, I think it was on Friday. And then on Monday, they assigned me to go and work in Edinburgh.
Right.
It was 3 months. I wasn't happy with that, of course. So because she just arrived and then we have a 6-month-old baby.
You've got a new set of priorities, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So we came to an agreement where instead of me being based in London, move me to Scotland and stop paying my hotel in Scotland. And this is how I moved to Edinburgh.
Right. Yeah. Which is where you are now, right?
Yeah, this is where I live right now.
Beautiful place.
We love it. We really love
nice city.
Yeah. So we've been there for 6 years. And that's basically my story, from Cameroon to London to Edinburgh. And now we have 2 children.
So then we've moved forwards. So you've left your company. You've gone, I believe you went independent contracting. Is that right?
Correct. So after 6-7 years working with that company, I gained skill, I gained confidence. I was a learner junkie. I go to work and then after work, I do certification. Because of the size of the company, we as an employee, we had access to a lot of training.
Okay.
And I was learning as much as possible. And I think this helped me right now because those are the skills that I'm selling to my client right now. So I built the confidence, I left the company, I became British citizen, and then I started consulting on my own financial service. And that was another big light bulb moment because my first contract, what they were paying me was 4 times my salary.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, why didn't do that before? But everything happened. I said,
well, everything happens in the right time and at the right pace, right?
Exactly.
It's difficult to be an independent contractor on a when you don't have leave to remain, you don't have those types of things.
Yeah,
right?
Once you build up the experience and the visa, it makes a big difference.
Correct. So it was a big revelation for me. I enjoyed that. I'm still doing that now and then. At the moment, I don't have a contract. And that was back in 2018 now. 2018, I left that company, set up my own IT, and then I got my first client. I stayed with that client for 2 years. It was a long contract.
Yeah, right. 4 times the salary for 2 years. Yeah, that's all right, isn't it?
That was amazing. And I think 2020, this is where COVID came.
Yep.
And yeah, obviously the IT business had cash in the bank account. But I like to question myself. Things are great, but yes, can it be better? I like to ask that question to myself. And then during COVID, I realized, obviously we had 2 kids at the moment. She was born in 2018, our daughter. And then I realized that we're still not happy. We have this money, but I feel like at home we are not happy. We are very family, Paula and I, very family oriented. We are not happy because, and we had this conversation, you wake up in the morning, you drop the kid to school. I go to the office at 7 in the morning, and then she drop the kid at the nursery. And we come back, we are all tired.
I think there's a lot of people who can relate directly to that,
It's very frustrating. You can see cash in the bank account, but something is not right. And during COVID, I think we really had time to reflect on that. Mm-hmm. And another big realization for my wife was, because she was working for the council, during that COVID period, they were made aware, they were told that they are key worker.
Right.
So, COVID was a scary thing.
Yeah.
But she had to go out because that's what the employer said. And she came back and we are all scared. And then she get undressed at the door, put everything in the washing machine, making sure that she's not passing anything on to us. And obviously, I was working from home at the moment. And end of COVID, she's made redundant.
God,
And then
that's rough.
we realized again, we got to change something here.
Yeah.
Her decision was, I take care of the kid right now.
Yeah.
And mine was, there must be something different I need to do here. Because something happened to me, that's it, we don't have any other income. And luckily for me, this is where I started watching video. I was already reading a lot of book. And then I came across Simon's. I first came across my then landlord in London, who was a property investor. First time ever he's in the country, the guy is always traveling.
Yeah.
So
You're thinking, how's he doing that? How's he doing that all the time?
We became friends. We were already friends, but because he had time during COVID, after my IT work, I was always having a chat with him every evening. And then I think he is the one who opened my eyes to the power of property investing. But I realized also that he's not ready to mentor me. So I had a target to find a mentor.
Right.
And then just watching video online. And then I came across Simon Zucchi and did one of his training. I like his style, did the second one. And then you know how it goes, 3-day mastermind. And then when he said...
Did you read the book Property Magic? Or?
I did.
You did?
Yeah,
Wow,
great.
I did everything, yeah.
You read that book and you think, wow.
Life-changing book, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
You read all of that, and then you have cash in the bank account, and then they said that whatever you need to pay for 12 months, I just pay it because I thought, just give it a go. And this is how I jump into this property investing world.
Yeah, very good. Okay, so that's certainly where we met.
Yes.
Let's talk then about question 2.
Okay.
So we haven't talked about what you've done in property, but let's talk about what is financial freedom and what does it mean to you specifically?
Good.
It means different things to different people. So
Yes. I'll give you one example because the last few days, so like right now, or when I was preparing for the half marathon, Monday morning, I dropped the kid to school. First of all, you wake up when your body is rested. That's what is happening. This is what has happened over the last few weeks. Wake up when your body is rested. Do whatever I need to do in terms of fridging, writing the plan for the day, and then drop the kid to school. After that, I go for a run. When I was running there, I realized this is freedom.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because for me,
You've chosen to put that within your day that you may not been able to do
and
in a
then
job.
after that, I stop somewhere for coffee and tea. I have a meeting over there, and then at 2 p.m. I pick up the kid from school. I go home, and then Paul is there, and then we cook food for the kid. Again, I realized this is amazing. If it can be like that, every single.
It's a really good example, and I can relate to a lot because I've been trying to average 15,000 steps a day recently, and it's a lot of walking time. And I think, obviously, if you're working a job and you had to try and do that with your employer, it would be very, very, very difficult. Yeah.
So I think that's a perfect example of financial freedom for me.
So that's the first time you feel you've achieved, you've realized it. And that was only in the last few weeks?
No, I've realized that in the past, but it's you know when you enjoy the moment.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that moment, and I thought I want to choose what I do like that every time. I can do it now for a while because I have some asset in property. I still have a little bit of cash from the IT. I don't have an IT contract at the moment, but unfortunately, I'm going to have to find another IT contract in the next few months. I can give myself a few months before jumping in there. But this gap is financial freedom for me. Now it's all about making it last forever.
Yeah, so it's about getting to that journey where the IT contract that you don't have to worry about for a few months, you don't have to worry about.
At all.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay, and where are you on your plan to that? Where do you think, how far in the future? So the two questions are, how far in the future do you think you're going to be until you get there? And then how are you getting there?
Good, yeah. I've been thinking about that a lot, and actually I've documented that.
Ah, very good.
So I have big plan for the future. How far am I on this? So obviously I've been working with you guys, and then we have some project on the pipeline. When those one will start cash flowing, it should put me in a better position than right now. So by the end of this year, I should be in a better position than right now. That's first thing. Second thing is, in the meantime, I've been working on other property strategy to generate more cash flow. And again, this is something that we start cash flowing. The cash flow will be even stronger in the next few months.
Yeah,
that's the second thing.
And are they're rent to rent type deals, aren't you?
Exactly.
For service accommodation, is that right?
That's correct. So rent to rent for service accommodation, and the hot season is coming, summer period. But there's a third thing, even more exciting for me, is probably I shouldn't disclose yet. So, but that's so.
Now I'm really interested.
Yeah.
The suspense now.
Yeah,
need to find out.
I'm really excited about that. But I'm giving myself end of 2025 to achieve financial freedom. It's a big statement I'm making here in front of you guys. And
depending on when you watch this, that is what, 18 months?
Yes, in 18 months.
So Tim mentioned the words rent to rent. So not everyone's going to understand what that is. So talk to me about the asset classes that are going to achieve your financial freedom. So we talked about rent to rent. Let's start there. Mm-hmm. What are you doing right here, right now? What does that mean?
Good. Asset classes and what is rent to rent. So in terms of asset classes, here we are talking about properties. Okay.
Yeah.
Property is one of the asset class that I started with that. And
sorry, let me rephrase the question. Within the property space,
okay,
the different. So I would say a buy-to-let, and HMO, and a service accommodation are all three different asset classes within the overarching asset class of property.
Okay, good. So I've got one HMO already running at the moment. There are two projects. One is
that's not rent to rent.
No, that's not rent to rent. Yeah, that's on, and it's already cash flowing.
Yeah.
Also have
and two more in development at the moment. Yeah.
Correct. So one commercial to Resi where we work together.
Yep.
And there's another one where it's supposed to be it should be a 6-bedroom, 6-bathroom HMO as well. Again, by the end of the year. And only challenge with that there's a gap, and it's normal because we are buying direct property to add value and then HMO. So it's normal. So in the meantime, I started doing rent for service accommodation. We've done some mistake. We've offloaded those mistakes from the portfolio, but there are some good ones. We have, for example, one. I have a business partner for that, rent, Graham. So rent is all about you take property from a landlord. Why would they do that? It's because they might be tired and they want consistent cash flow. We offer that to them as a company let. We take that on 3 years, 3 years, 5 years. I'm happy. I'm confident. I'm happy with 3 years. We take that on 3 years. We give them guaranteed rent. But on the other side, as a company, what we do service accommodation for holidaymakers. That's one aspect. We also have contractors in some areas. And there's a third aspect for emergency housing. So between Graham and I, we are covering all of these three. In Glasgow, we have a 4-bedroom property over there. And last week, we were fortunate because a company took it for 3 months. So we are covered until September.
So you've took a 4-bedroom property. You've said to the landlord, I'm going to rent this from you. Mm-hmm. You then said, right, and then it's going to be a fixed price for the next 3 years.
Correct.
And and then you're going to say, right, I'm going to take that monthly cost. I'm going to split it up into a daily cost for service accommodation?
Yes.
And then you're going to try and charge a rate per night instead?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm happy to share numbers. There's nothing secret. We're paying, because it's not central of Glasgow. It's a small town called Cumbernauld. We pay the landlord £900 every month. It's fixed. We still have fees. So we pay council tax, we pay gas, electricity, and we pay, there should be something else. Internet, stuff like that. You have to. Obviously, we spent some money to set up the property to a better standard because the property was not in a good standard. Luckily, that landlord is a friend now. We've known him for years, and that landlord has a huge portfolio. Again, so you can take all the property if you want. but we decided to just take one at the moment. So because he's a friend, we said to him that this property, for example, we need a new carpet, and he agreed to do that. We need painting. He agreed to pay stuff like that. So, but we only pay for maintenance, general maintenance, changing the bulbs. Yeah. So those are our costs. But now we are charging £130 per night.
Okay.
So obviously, when you set up the property, I think we set this up in end of April. May was not, we just made profit of something like £400.
Okay.
So that's good.
And that's because you're charging per night just on what, like a Airbnb or something?
Airbnb.
Right, okay.
Airbnb and booking.com and or direct booking as well. So it wasn't fully occupied. We had 2-3 night bookings, but luckily we managed to pay the landlord from that. And we also managed to pay the fees, running fees, and profit of £400. Not exciting. But now that we have this 3-month booking and we are charging $130 per night, we are talking about 100% occupancy for the next 3 years. The next 3 months, sorry, hopefully it's 3 years. So for the next 3 months, and we should be making profit of $1,500.
That's great.
Every single month for the next.
Yeah, because it's like 30 days at £130 a night. What's that, £3,900 a month, something like that?
Yes.
That's fast maths.
Yeah.
I feel like that. That's fast maths. I think that's right as well.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so $3,900 per month on a 30-day average.
Yes. So
And you're paying $900
to the
plus bills, $300, $400?
Yes, ish.
Something like that?
Yeah.
Ish.
And are you managing, or is there another company that manages it?
No, we manage this one, kind of semi-managed. It's all about putting system, isn't it? So we are building those systems in terms of maintenance guys on site or in the surrounding. We have 2 cleaners alternating there. We just hire a VA from Philippines, and we are not spending quite a lot there. And she's the one interacting with the customer, the guest. And we have also a full-time employee at the moment who is basically, the plan, we are working on it, is for him to replace us.
Yeah.
And again, putting those systems in place, this work in progress. Yeah.
Okay, so there are other costs involved. So they obviously general maintenance and,
Correct.
day-to-day stuff and
Cleaners.
and
cleaners.
you've got to pay for and things like that. But you think you're going to come out with roughly £1,500 a month for the next 3 months
On a good month, yeah.
on a property you don't own.
That
And what was your initial capital outlay?
we spend about 4,000. Not
Okay.
Yeah, 4,000 to set this up because we need new
Yeah.
bed. We brought.
So you've made £400 in April
Yes.
and then £4,500 over the 3 months.
Correct.
So you spent 4. So by the end of this first contract,
Yes, we should be covered.
you're
into your profit, and then you've
profit
got
by about 900 quid.
and then you've got 2.5 more years of strong bookings. So,
Correct.
Yeah.
So yeah, that setup is that's how rent works.
Yeah,
That's
very good.
That's a basic standard. Yeah.
Yeah, very good. I mean, that's an unbelievable outcome if you can get a property, especially if it's corporate let, and they'll take on
Just
documents.
And it's a good balance to have, because obviously I know we've talked a lot about you building up your cash flow for the last few years. So like you said, you've got the HMO developments that we're doing, which are a buy, refurbish, refinance model. So you got the asset, you're adding value, you're getting equity, and then at the end of it you get good cash flow.
Correct.
And then you've worked out in the meantime, like, while those developments are happening, how can I get cash flow in quicker?
Yeah.
I can get this done because it's not a full build process and sourcing process. The property's there ready to go.
That was my thought. Our thought process. We need cash flow from next month.
Yeah.
What do we do?
Yeah. And then by the end of this year, you'll have your 5-bed property,
Yes.
your 6-bed property,
Yeah.
and then our JV.
Half. Yes. Oh, 1/3 of.
So which is another 3 rooms, let's say, of a 9-room property.
Correct.
So you'll have 6, add 5, add 3, and a cash flow of £150 to £200 a month
Yes.
for each of those rooms.
And something even bigger next year.
Yeah, well, there you go. Well,
That is really exciting.
I really want to know what that is.
We can't wait.
I can't tell you how much.
We can't wait for the break to find this out.
You guys will be involved. So.
We'll update any listeners in the future once the we're involved.
Once we
Super.
can. There we go.
There we go.
Okay.
If that's okay.
Yeah.
So question 3, what are you most proud of in your journey so far?
Ooh. Most proud of? I think it's the people. Is the people. Coming to the UK, my main focus here was studies. And I think it's normal that we have our personality changes. We have different aspirations, but so far, I think I've met incredible people on my journey to financial freedom. Some of them were in the corporate world, but since I started being serious about personal development, I've met incredible people.
You are good at networking, aren't you? Obviously, we met in a property network.
Your networking exhausts me.
I do see all the social media posts. You are really good at networking.
Because we network, but you are networking on steroids. You know, you are the number one networker, I think.
Yes.
So you've met great people through networking and getting out there.
Proud of, really. I made good friends. You guys are one of them. We don't need to call each other every single day. We are all busy. But we know we have different objectives. We support each other in those objectives. I met incredible people. And I felt like I just want to keep meeting more people now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny because it is people business, right? And it's a common denominator that people don't, when they're looking at property, they start thinking about getting on Rightmove and, looking at how much it costs. When really it's a people business.
Yeah.
Get out and meet people.
We are only one phone call away or one network person away from whatever situation we are. I love that from Dan Presley, illusion of lack of resources.
Yeah.
So we might feel like we are stuck here, but just check your phone or whoever you met in that other network, you might unlock that situation.
Yeah, who can help you out in that circumstance and who can you reach out to? Who Not How, So that's a great book, isn't it? Is it Benjamin Hardy, Who Not How? Hardy, excellent book.
So I'm very proud of the people that I met over the last few years. And I want to meet more people.
Good for you, man. Stop the podcast now. This episode is sponsored by Property Filter. Property Filter is the number one property tool for today's property professional. It brings in all the data points and sources from all the property portals and auction sites into one convenient place. Then you have the option to overlay all the clever strategies found in the Property Filter blueprint to find motivated sellers faster. Now, we use it on a daily basis. It saves us over 80% of our time when looking for properties. And if that sounds like something that you want in your lives, please go to register.property-filter.co.uk/PPB, which is the discount code for this podcast. You will get 2 weeks free and a discount on your first month. That's it from me. Back to the podcast. Next question. Okay. What is the best piece of advice you have been given?
Two things came to my mind straight away. The BEAR model, BEAR. Your belief affects your emotion affects your action affects your result. I first listened to it in 2020, 2021, and I realized that I think even Dr. Benjamin Hardy mentioned that commitment is a statement of what it is. So this is where you realize that everything that you have is a result of your belief.
Yeah.
So as a logical person, analytic person, you just need to review or look at your belief and then make sure that it has a knock-down effect of where you want to go. So it was, again, a big moment for me.
Right then, question 5.
Okay.
So now we're going to look a bit about why you're here talking to us. So why did you choose to work with us where you're our client, and also you've upgraded to, in our eyes, to joint venture with us?
Yeah.
So why have you chosen to do that with property portfolio building and lettings business investment to that?
So I think the way that, first of all, we met in Mastermind during the training. And where Mastermind was great, I think the power of Mastermind is the environment and the fact that we meet every month. We spend those weeks in the hotel, and then connections are made.
Yeah.
It cannot be made with everybody. I think was about 30 of us, but I think we click and then we became friends there.
Yeah.
And so it was naturally, I think the first time that we got engaged in terms of business is when we first did a normal loan agreement, stuff like that. Because there's a big difference between having a friend and having a financial relationship with people.
Of course.
And sometimes people don't realize that. You can be a good friend, but I don't want to have any financial transaction with you. And it's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But there are some people where you know that there can be some financial transaction. So, and I like to establish that with some of my friends. So, So naturally, we moved into that space where we started transferring money between us.
Yeah.
And then it built the trust because obviously the money came back and then the value was added. And
yeah, because you lent me in one of my early projects, didn't you?
Correct. You had a project and then you needed some fund. I had some fund. I passed it on to you. We signed the loan agreement. Everything went smoothly. But the key here was also I wanted to learn.
Yeah.
And I learned a lot there. I remember that I was an IT guy.
Yeah.
Obviously, we had the training. It was all theory. But Tim was doing concrete stuff in property. And I wanted to see that. And he gave me access to that. I came for viewings when we organized.
Yeah.
Yeah. I came for all of, So it was good value for me. And then obviously I got the money back.
That was the early stages of our discovery days that we do now. We did some regional visits and things like that, didn't we?
So what happened there was, where was I? Yeah, we moved into that and then we had this financial relationship. But in terms of context, I'm based in Scotland.
Yeah.
And the role of property in Scotland, I hate making excuses, but the learning from the mastermind is more geared towards England. And I tried to apply some of them, but I did not have the success that I wanted in Scotland. And I realized I'm not planning to manage those property. So location shouldn't be a problem. So I needed a trusted team and partner in England so that we can just do the learning.
Yeah.
And naturally, PB came because we are friends. We've done stuff in the past. We had some financial transaction in the past. I think it just came.
So we built the relationship. There's trust. You know, you had a circumstance where you wanted to invest in England and Manchester, a good place for it. And
then, you guys are in Manchester. So that's it. It's a no-brainer.
And how does it add value to you in
I have a lot of value there because I feel like I might not recommend that to other people. I think the last project that I brought, I've never seen the property.
Which one's that?
The warehouse
in Catherine
Right,
Street.
yeah.
Never seen it. So that's the level of trust I have in you guys. So, but it's adding value because I feel like I am on site. I have pictures and video every 2 weeks. Obviously, we speak over the phone whenever I have question. We might we might have some hurdle with question from the lender and stuff like that. I feel like I'm never alone on this because I can call you, team Phil. You will say or do something or direct me to the, it's huge.
Support network.
It's a big thing that as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Especially when you're using funding.
Yeah.
Because it's not. We don't talk about that really. We talk about the build. We talk about the sourcing. But the lending is hard, right?
And the questions that come back.
Days, absolutely. So
the most challenging for me, I think.
The schedule of work, so the cost breakdowns, all those.
There are some questions they ask me as the order of the project, but I have no clue.
Yeah,
I do some Google and then I have just called Tim.
Don't Google it. Don't Google it because you might get that wrong. And it's funny because you obviously what you're saying to this lender is I am borrowing funds from you. I will pay you back. Because it's a development. Funding is what we're talking about here.
Yes.
And the way I'm going to pay you back is by being knowledgeable and being able to deliver this project.
Because they asked me that.
And then you're leveraging skills of other people.
Yeah, but that's it. Leveraging.
So it came to me. I had cash available, and then we just decided to take it. I think the purchase price was it 135? Something.
Was it 145?
Yeah,
it was 145. Yeah.
So 145. That was the purchase price, but we used bridging loan there. Mm-hmm. So I had to bring deposit 30% and bridging loan finance 70%. Obviously, it comes with fees. And then development cost was 100K-ish.
I think,
5, 6.
Yeah, I think with all the design, project management and build was about 104, 103 from memory or something like that.
Yeah, probably something like that. But yeah, I remember that.
And I think the budget might have been 105, 106. It was like basically like $2,000 under budget or something like that.
So development cost 105, and we managed to achieve, because we turned 3-bed into 5-bed, managed to achieve 325.
Yeah.
When I financed it,
which is a great result.
It was good. It was a good deal.
So 160 plus. No, 145 plus
145 or 146.
Yeah,
so
and then plus fees and interest.
250 plus fees and interest.
Yes,
20k there.
And what's that cash flow, net cash flow after all costs roughly at the moment?
So each room is about 675, I think. Yes.
Yeah, per room.
Per room.
Yeah.
So gross cash flow is 3,300, something like that. The mortgage is 1,500, and their cost about 600. Mm-hmm. So net cash flows is between 700 to 800.
Okay.
Net.
Yeah, and that's factoring into a bit of voids and maintenance and bits like that, isn't it?
Some held back.
Yeah.
Very good.
So yeah, it's good cash flow, and obviously there's capital appreciation in that area. The plan is to hold that open to option, but at the moment is to keep that property.
Yeah, and it's a good location. It's right near the hospital, isn't it?
Yeah, a proper general hospital as well. One with all the wards as a student.
So that's one of the factors.
Student university next door and stuff. Yeah,
that's good to know.
Yeah, absolutely. So happy with that one?
Yeah, I'm happy with
we've gone again.
I want another one.
Yeah. So you're on the 6th bed now. So hopefully we'll do that case study in the future. But and then JV. Decided to JV.
So as we said, this is the next step. Hopefully the natural one. So that opportunity came. I think I came to one of the Ping meeting. I'm not sure I was around, so I came to the Ping meeting.
So networking again.
Catch up with you. We spoke. We never mentioned that jail.
It's funny that, because why would we?
You never mentioned that jail.
We'd never told
Stephane. I think
we didn't know he was interested in joint venturing.
Yeah.
So that was our belief system.
So that's why you got to talk to people about what's going on, what you're doing, because you never know what people are going to pick up on and be like, I can help you, and you can help me.
We went for drinks.
Yeah.
And then I think Phil mentioned
water.
Phil mentioned at some point that, we have one jail there. We're looking for funding. And then that's it. Said nothing else. And then I didn't even notice it. But the following day, Phil was kind enough to drive me to the train station. I think my train was cancelled, and I had to find.
We had to drive you to your train from Manchester was cancelled. So that's right. Wigan.
And Nick was on the phone. Oh, there's another one open there. Just go now. It's going living.
Yeah, we were literally going, which train? We were like, go there.
It was really funny. And then we were rushing there, and just before dropping me, and then Phil gave me all of the detail about that jail. And the train was about to go. And I was like, I can do that one, actually.
Yeah.
Tell me more. When I arrive in Edinburgh, let's have a chat.
Yeah.
And then we had a chat, and then you told me more about the jail. And then I just said, I bring the fund.
Yeah, so you brought the funds, and technically, we were going to recycle most of that money in the deal, right? So technically, this project is owned by the company that me and Tim own.
Yeah.
But you use something called a declaration of trust, which is you hold a trust over the property, both on the equity capital gain, any funds that retained, and a share of the profit.
That's the right way of doing that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it would be messy to add me to the company.
Yeah.
I'm happy with that setup.
Yeah. Well, you have all the rights and none of the obligations, right? So that's it's one of the best setups you can have.
Yeah.
To be fair.
And also we on this development needed planning as well, didn't it? So we actually agreed for a bit of terminology, a early exchange with a delayed completion once the planning period came through. So
in fairness, Stephane's funding we didn't need until planning was approved. So it was a good deal because once plan's approved, it's a go.
Yes. So at the time when I committed to take the job, I did not have the full funding.
Yeah.
But
we didn't have the full planning. We find a way, right?
We had
going back to the bear system. I believe we'll get the planning. And you believe you'd get the funding.
We had the deal. We had the thought we'd get planning, and we didn't have the funds. So
we didn't know we were going to buy it, but we definitely had the.
Well, it was a good one, so I'm looking forward to that one.
It's a good point that because we did the deal not knowing how we were going to fund the deal.
Yeah,
if you remember. But again, we knew there was planning, and we knew it was a good deal. We knew that we would find we believed that actually we will get the funding because the deal's great.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah, which is unusual because traditionally when I did build my portfolio, I always had a plan for fund. But I think now because we have got quite a big network, it's more that we do have a network we can dip into and find it. Whereas I remember in the early days once building a portfolio, I was always like, geez, how am I actually going to fund this? It is a good deal, but I had no idea. But then when I grew my network, I got more comfortable. So, but I do think it's good to either have the funds or know where the funds are coming from or ways to achieve it. Because when you offer it and you want the vendor wants a quick sale and you've literally got no idea to raise the funds, obviously that's the challenge, isn't it?
Yeah. We'd managed to negotiate as well down to like a smaller deposit, so we didn't have to pay the full deposit, if you remember.
Yeah,
it was a very small deposit. I remember.
Yeah,
actually that's a good point because we talk about this sometimes when we do early exchanges, that the default with the solicitor just go, it's 10% deposit, but if you agree something, and sometimes that just sits on account, so it doesn't help the vendor and it doesn't help the buyer because it's just this 10% sitting there doing nothing. Yeah. So usually, as long as the vendor is, not losing money or you cover a bit of the cash flow or something, you can negotiate something reasonable that works for both parties.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I'm glad you mentioned that in the car journey to the train.
Well, the failure in the train station and the UK train system has generated a deal. So that's good, isn't it?
Sometimes there's silver linings for poor train networks.
Lovely. Right. So final question from us, which is actually our previous guest question. So what we do is we ask all our guests to leave a question for the next person. Okay.
We'll ask you to do the same.
We'll ask you to do the same before you leave today. So, this question is: how is technology changing the landscape of property investing, and how are you leveraging those advancements?
Technology, that's a good question. Especially now, with big word right now is AI technology. People are mixing everything. Technology is there and it's not going away. That's for sure. Right now in my business and what I do with you guys, with my partner, Rent, I think I feel guilty of not using the full power of technology there. The main aspect where I use it is mainly in the communication sector with WhatsApp. There are some special applications that we're also using. Obviously Zoom, all of the popular one, but there are some Slack to follow up project, Loom. So I classify it in the communication area. But I feel like, and maybe that might be interest for you. I attended a live webinar where people are using some software to project, whether it's AI generated or not, but from there they can project how they want the room to look like at the end. And with that in mind, they share this with the builder. And then I don't know how things are done in that space yet, but I think there's a lot of power there using the latest technology to have an accurate vision.
Oh, so like a CGI image through AI that shows
Yeah, things like that.
There's no argument from the builder at the end then, is there? So it shows them a photo of what it looks like.
Yeah, exactly. It might not be appropriate for that, but again, I think that's just one example where technology and all of this tool can be used to accelerate the property journey. As I said, I feel guilty of just using it in the communication area at the moment. I should probably up my game there.
Well, listen, the answer to the question is there's lots of technology, but I'm not yet using it. So there's room for growth, right?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. And then the final thing is you get to ask us a question. So have you prepared a question?
I think I had something in mind for you. Because obviously, I told you I have big plans, and I'll be making. The plan is to have more project because next year is a big year for me. For you to disclose that, and a lot of people are talking about, especially source, and then you just go on any Facebook group. People keep talking about no money down deal. Mm-hmm. With your experience and expertise in that space, we know how mature the UK market is. Do you think that it's possible to find consistently no money down deal?
Oh, that's a good question.
We have these discussions all the time, don't we?
No. You're asking the wrong people.
Should I kick it off? Just to kick it off, I think a lot of it depends on the funding mechanism to start with. So
funding.
Yeah, if let's say as an example, you're doing a 5 or 6 bed HMO, if you're using full cash funding, let's say it's 270 to 300 grand of costs, for maybe a 350 valuation at the end of it. When you refinance, you might only have 20 grand left into it because you've saved on the costs of the bridging lender and stuff like that. So it's the same deal, but just a different funding mechanism to if you're using bridging and development finance. If you're using bridging and development finance, which is obviously you need less funds, and it's a good way to leverage and get going. You might need 90 to 100,000 pounds, something like that.
Yeah.
But say 30, 35,000 of that will go to bridging lenders, interest, fees,
40.
and maybe 40, and all of the other fees associated. So your extra surveys you got to do, your extra reports you got to do, and all those sort of things. So let's say it's 40. So instead of having 20 left in the deal, you've now got 60 left in the deal. They're both good, same deal, same project, everything like that, same actual costs, different result from a money left in to money left out scenario. So the return's different. I think sometimes it also comes down to risk and reward element. So as we mentioned, we're doing a joint venture, with a 9-bed development. It was a commercial property. It did need planning and all these sort of things. So there's more risk involved in that project, and ultimately it's going to be higher return. There's not going to be a lot of money left in the deal, but there is more risk involved. So it's a risk reward scenario sometimes. And you might, we could have a situation planning got rejected and we spent a bit of funds and, it didn't come off and stuff like that, even though we negotiated fairly well. So it's just understanding that risk reward element with funds out. Also,
we'd have been about 6 grand in, I think, if we hadn't got the one that particular property.
Then also there's market influences. So I would say, like, I did a decent development in 2021 that had all money out. The market then was different. Interest rates were lower. The market was pushing up in value, where I'd say now it's sort of stagnation. And that also means the valuation surveys are being more conservative, because lenders are saying, well, you need to be a bit more careful on these commercial valuations. So when the market is going up and up and up, it's just easier, isn't it? So it is harder, I'd say, now than it was a few years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it comes down to the risk reward element and the funding mechanism, is the way I'd describe it.
I'm gonna go technical.
Yes, go ahead.
Because
I bounce back from what Tim said, if you let me.
Yeah, so I'm going to go technical on my particular answer.
Yes.
So what you're talking about here, to do no money left in deals.
Yes.
The easiest way to do it is to buy something and sell it with an uplift. And you get all your money back plus your profit, right? Mm-hmm. What you're referring to is buy something and then finance it at the end.
Refinance it, yeah.
Keep hold of that property, refinance it through a traditional mortgage.
Yes.
And that mortgage will fund all the deposit and all the cost.
Correct. That's what I'm referring to.
So let's use 75% as your borrowing, right? So
yes,
at the moment, if you're at 75% borrowing on a mortgage, then you would need to be at 30% development uplift. Okay, so all your costs, including the purchase, development, fees, you would need to add a 30% margin on your what the value that you've added to then be able to refinance it back on 75%. Okay.
Yes.
If you are refinancing and you have mortgages available at 80%, then you only need to have a 25% development uplift. 85%, then you only need to have a 20% development uplift. Okay, so there's a technical answer behind that, which is at the moment, the traditional mortgages are in and around the 75% because there's still market volatility. Okay. So previously you could get 85%. So if you've got a 20% development uplift property, then you can refinance.
Yeah, we did one a few years ago at 80, didn't we? That was a big, decent sized 10-bed and a flat development.
So that's technical answer number one, which is if you need to achieve 30% development uplift if your mortgage is at 75%. Mm-hmm. Can you achieve 30% development uplift on a 5 or 6 bed HMO? My answer is no. You're not doing it. Okay.
The other aspect, just to jump back to before, so, a few years ago when I was saying the build costs were lower at that point, so then we had hyperinflation. So if you think, obviously valuers are being more stagnant or more conservative, and the build costs are higher than they've gone up quite a lot. They have stagnated a little bit in recent times because inflation has been curbed, but there's been a major jump in build costs in the last few years. So the combination of those things to get the 30% uplift, you need.
Well, there's also you want it to cash flow.
Yeah.
So
Yes,
the
you want
interest
to
rates
transfer
are
at the
much
same
higher.
time.
So if you want to leverage up to 85% or 90% even on these
Yeah.
things, it's not going to make you any money because there has to be
It's a fair point because you could get, like you said, 85% infinite return, but your cash flow might be,
You're infinite return.
you're at risk because you're getting £100, £200 a month, or you get something that's on a good value, like you said, your property as an example, at 75% makes $700-800 a month.
Yes.
So then you look at, right, how do I add the value? So how do I get to that 30% margin? And Tim's already referred to it, which is you need to go bigger and you need to take bigger risks. You need to add more value, right? So
or a bigger.
So you will have some fixed cost. Okay, so you'll have fixed costs in any project, and those fixed costs are things like legal costs.
Yeah.
So they're going to be fixed. So what you want to do is get all the sunk costs. And you want to look at the type of development that is the furthest away from those sunk costs that you can do within your budget range. Okay, so what I mean by that is if you want a 5-bed, 6-bed HMO, your sunk costs might be the same as a 8-bed commercial to residential property. The cost, the baseline cost is the same. If you're using funding, then depending on the size of the property depends on how much you're going to pay. But some of your sunk costs, such as drawdown fees, they stay the same. Legal fees, they may stay the same. Searches fees, they'll stay the same. Valuation fee might be the same, or within a £100. So it's not a big enough jump. So that to get that all money, no money down deal, you have to do something in today's market to bridge that 30% gap. The easiest way is to get a 30% discount. But you show me a property that you can get a 30% discount, you buy it for cash, you do very little to it, and then you refinance it after 6 months or whatever at the true value. Okay, that is almost impossible. That was the original no money down deal.
It was possible in the past.
Yeah, absolutely. It was the original no money down deal, and you could do same day mortgages, which was I will buy it for cash at 80 grand, but I know it's worth 100, and the bank would lend you up to 85%. So you're paying 80, you're borrowing 85, which covers all your costs. And then you've got a property with 15K's worth of equity. And it's like, well...
The other thing to consider as well is that, like, what are the parameters? A good deal is a good deal. So some people, that we talk to, they say, I just want all money out deals. And say, okay, how many properties are in your portfolio at the moment? They say, well, 0 or 1 as an example. And it's like, well, I think that's possibly holding you back because you're looking for what's the term? A black swan of a deal.
Yeah.
Etc. Whereas if you just get going and
get started,
and go, this is the return I want as a minimum, that's a good deal. I get going, and if I do 6 deals over the next 2 years that range between this percent and this percent, they're all good deals. They all cash flow well, all really happy. Or I try and look for one more money out deal, and maybe I find it, or maybe I don't. And then after 2 years, you've got 0 or 1 properties instead of 6.
Now here's the other side of it. There's also a third option, which is what does no money down deal mean at a fundamental level? What does it mean?
You get all of the money back.
I've not put any money. I've got no money in it. Okay.
None of your own money.
I don't. Yeah. None of my money's in it.
Yeah.
Right. So the third way to do this is find a great deal and get somebody else to fund it.
And how are they getting their money back?
Well, you're talking about do no money out deals work for me? If I find a great deal and somebody else funds it, have I put any money in?
No.
So is it an all money out deal for me?
No, I agree. Yes.
Yeah. So I'm exchanging my time and expertise for that part.
Yes.
So there's a level of getting to that position as well, which people don't recognize enough, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Where that leverage is, well, I might give some of the deal away, but I've got no money in.
Yeah.
So they may leave some money in. It might not be, the deal itself might not be no money left in, but on a practical perspective, I have no money in.
Yeah.
So that is another way to get no money, is to just say,
which
so my objective this year is to add 6 HMO rooms as an example. I'm not funding that.
Okay. You have the expertise.
Yeah.
So soft skill.
Exactly. So I've got 6 no money left in deals. Six rooms that I'm adding to my income. I've not put any money in. So I've got 6. I hit a 6-bed HMO with no money in it.
Soft equity. Yeah.
So there's 3 ways to look at it. So
that takes it back to what I was talking before. Is obviously, I did a deal with someone where there was minimal funds left in for the deal, but I didn't, put any money of my funds in myself. So yeah. So technically, it's no
so
money.
what I take away from it, obviously, you split it in three different categories, and for Chim, you mentioned the cash There's a cash element and there's the leverage element. From the cash and the leverage element, I understand that 20K might be left when it's cash, and then 60K might be left when it's leverage.
Yeah.
The reason why I brought this deal is a lot of people are just promoting no money left deal out there, especially Saucer. Oh, no money left in there. And then when they actually do that.
It comes down to, I suppose, credibility of those numbers. So, because what happens is, obviously those sources, they're trying to sell something to people online and they're promoting, aren't they?
Yeah.
Whether the numbers at the end of it, are what they said, who knows?
Who knows, yeah.
Whereas, our approach, as is we bring clients on agreed criteria. We deliver exactly to that. There's no overselling. These are the numbers. And then by the end of it, we want to do better than what we said rather than the other way if these people are promoting it. So we'd rather say, we're looking at 12 to 14% return and at the end of it giving a 15 to 23% return or something like that.
That's what happened to Fort Valley Road.
So the different approaches, but I think
it's a good point.
Longevity in business to us is credibility of the numbers and trust and reliability and stuff like that. And if you went to one of those people that said that and you had a lot more money left in it, are you going to work with them again?
No way.
What are you going to tell other people about them?
Yeah, they're not.
Great question.
Yeah,
great question. All right then. So so you've given recommendations. So just to reiterate those recommendations. So it was. The books were, the author was Benjamin Hardy.
Who, Not How.
Not How.
Your personality is not permanent.
Your personality is not permanent.
Personality is not permanent, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Who, Not How, but it's a different topic. But Your Personality is not permanent.
By Dr. Benjamin Hardy.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good one. And The Art of Exceptional Living.
The Art of Exceptional Living by
Jim Rohn.
Yeah. Audiobook.
Ideal.
Yeah.
You will love it. You can listen.
I have to redo it with the audio.
Very good.
Yeah.
All right. So that brings us to the end.
Good.
Thank you very much, Stephane. Always a pleasure.
Thank you.
It's been really great having you
You're
here.
well on your journey to achieving your goals, and it's great to see the actions that you've taken, especially with that sort of like overcoming that limiting belief of wanting to do everything on your own and getting out there networking. And thank you very much for spending some time with us. And we'll look forward to getting these two projects up and running and
looking forward to it
and giving you that cash flow towards your goal.
Maybe you'll visit it when it is fully finished.
Maybe you'll come see it one day, right? Good stuff.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Cheers. Thanks.
Thank you once again for joining us on the Financial Freedom Podcast, sponsored by us at Property Portfolio Building. If you want to get in touch with us about today's podcast or any of the learning topics that we've gone through today, you can email us at podcast@invest-prop.co.uk or get in touch with us with whichever your social media platform of choice is. If you think you would add value to us as a guest on this podcast, you can please get in touch and let us know what you would be able to talk to us about. Other than that, we wish you well on your financial freedom journeys. And once again, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you on the next one.